We are actually presenting, so you're going to have to try really hard to see our little tiny screen on my shoulder right here, as am I, to see what we're actually talking about. So we're here to talk about how brands, fans, and entertainment can be powered by story. So our speakers, I am Lydia Daly. I lead ad marketing and intelligence at Paramount, and I'm joined by...
Hi, I'm Beth, Trentacoste. I lead the creative team at Paramount Media Labs.
You're the one who made that Katy Perry picture, so you
look what's up there. I didn't even realize. I thought we would just put something fun in culture and you can guess who is who, but clearly the design team has chosen who is who, so that's great for me. That's a great way for me to start as the little boy.
All right, moving on. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about the brand intimacy paradox. So you may have noticed that we've entered a new era of brand intimacy. They're closer to our lives than they ever have been before. We are chatting with them in the comments as if they are actual real people. They're supporting our hobbies and our communities. In some cases, they're actually creating our hobbies and our communities. And we're repping, we're wearing them, we're actually sleeping with them, as is the case here with the Duncan reference. And as such, because people are so close to brands, marketing is actually no longer invisible infrastructure. People understand how it works. They talk about the marketing when they like a campaign. They say how terrible the brand marketer was when they don't. And so they feel more connected than ever. It's part of our cultural landscape. However, the paradox is that this is also the era of skip and scroll and mute and second screen. We cannot and no longer demand attention. It definitely has to be earned. Only 3% of consumers admit to never skipping an ad. We think that 3% might be lying because everybody does it. And so when audiences have control, attention is definitely earned. We know that emotion, though, is something that cannot be earned. It's something that can be created. And that brings us to fandoms. Over the past 20 to 30 years, fandom is something that has grown and grown in our lexicon. 83% now consider themselves to be a member of a fandom. 78% of fans share their fandom with someone else. Our children are giving us their fandoms. We are giving them their, our fandoms. It is growing and growing. There's a couple of examples of fandom flourishing in the wild here. Some really dedicated parents using masking tape during March Madness to create a bracket on their wall. Star Trek, giving and giving over years and years and years. Here's a RuPaul watch race. Other watch parties are definitely available. And then my favorite, when people start calling their babies names that they've seen in a TV show because their fandom is such. And so Yellowstone is one example, with Casey and Dutton being something that has gone up in the baby name
Don't do it. I don't approve. Sorry.
Not into Casey?
That was louder than
I would do a Casey. I don't know if I would do it Dutton. And apologies if anyone's called Dutton.
I love it for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so IP, we think, is the key to unlocking this for fans, right? 67% of our viewers are more likely to notice brands that partner with popular TV shows and movies. IP is something that gives and gives. You create mythology. It's something that rewards over time. It fuels that fandom. And we think that powerful things can happen when brands collaborate with IP. So 75% feel more connected to brand experiences that are integrated into the content they're viewing. 60% feel more loyal. 62% say partnerships with their fandom can help a brand be culturally relevant. This is good for brands. And we believe each partner benefits when it is done correctly. It is a virtuous circle where brands are feeding IP, feeding fans, and so on. So for brands, they gain belonging and equity beyond impressions. They get earned attention. They get emotional equity and permission to exist. Fans feel this was made for me, not sold to me. It expands the surface area of what they love. And IP helps build a stronger world for that brand. So matches and enhances the tone, it advances the story, and it builds on the mythology, is what the brand can do for those fandoms. And so we think the shift for brands is actually to start thinking like a showrunner. And a showrunner, when it comes to content creation, is the person who is thinking about that show. What is the vision? How do I think about it from start to the end? How can I build that fandom over time? We think it's an opportunity to take your brand from commercial to canon, from just messaging at them to being part of that mythology. and from just distributing your content to really inspiring devotion. And that brings us to our case study that we really want to focus on today. We want to talk about the e.l.f. and the Survivor partnership. And before Beth gets into the details, for those of you who may not know what Survivor is, it is a cultural phenomenon. I don't know how you couldn't know at this stage. It's 25 years in the running. It has over 50 seasons. I say over 50 because they're filming 51 right now. Outwit, outlast, outplay. They've, really created the strategy for people when they're in these types of shows, the reality TV's blueprint. And it is a franchise that endures and endures. And that is why Beth is going to take you through the case study that builds on this.
Give me the clicker.
There you go.
Okay.
Go
so
here.
what do I press? I have not clicked.
Arrow.
Here we go. Okay, so we know the advertising community loves a framework, so we've developed a framework in which we do branded storytelling, and they are up there. I'll go through them along with the e.l.f. So our first principle in branded storytelling is to master the lore. If you do not know the canon, you cannot join the conversation. That seems really mean now that I've said it out loud, but we live it and we breathe it. And as Lydia just said, Survivor invented the reality competition genre. And with that comes a lot of seriousness with which we address the show and which we make the show, the way we treat the fandom. So when we were talking about the partnership with e.l.f., who is known for being an unexpected, bold brand who maybe breaks some rules, if I may say that, we had a lot of these conversations because we wanted to do something that had never been done before in Survivor, and we wanted to have fun with Survivor. But in order for it to land, we had to make sure that the fandom knew e.l.f. gets it. e.l.f. loves Survivor. e.l.f.'s a fan too. They're allowed to have fun here. So the way we did this was we did a comedic campaign that ran in the A position of the commercial breaks, which felt like a seamless transition from the show. You'll see we go from island to island, and it feels like you're in the world of the show. And to make it even more seamless, we worked with Tiffany Irvin, who is the Survivor 50 contestant. And if you watch the show, she made it all the way to the end, which was great for us because she was still on while the campaign was running, competing. And we brought in Daly, who is a content creator. If you don't know her, she has about 4 million followers on TikTok and IG. And she's known for sort of parodying the classic TV and film archetypes, which made her great for this campaign because she is playing a new contestant on Survivor who sneaks in her e.l.f. cosmetics for an advantage in the game. So we're going to show you 2 of those spots. As a creative, I need this to be loud and work, so be quiet. Just kidding. I have no audio. This is the worst. This is my fear in life, my greatest fear. We'll go back. Do I keep going? Maybe I just keep going and we'll go back to the spot.
Race over.
You can hear?
Got someone softly playing piano in the background.
Perhaps we'll go back to them because they say everything and you'll love them.
We'll talk about them when we get to the fireside, so maybe.
Okay, yeah. We'll play them again when we get to the fireside. So the next principle is think in worlds, build in arcs, which is entertainment thinking to us means extending the story, giving viewers more of what they love. With intentional story arcs, which helps the brand become part of the mythology. And so for this campaign, with that principle in mind, we gave fans more story. The week before this all launched, we teased that a new contestant would be joining the Survivor Island. We also seeded out found confessionals, which were of course made by us. From Survivor with Tiffany and Daly. And then in the finale, we brought back 7 amazing former female contestants and castaways and winners live on the red carpet, hosted by our girl Daly, and we seeded out that on e.l.f. Social and Survivor Social, which is something fans will not normally get to see. The third principle is turn products into portals. We believe that product collabs and physical products can be emotional bridges, helping fans connect even deeper with the IP. And one of the key facets of Survivor is the Survivor buff. If you don't watch, which I guess you do based on the viewership, it's like a bandana that you can wear around your neck or your head, but contestants must wear it at all times on the island. And in partnership with e.l.f., we created an e.l.f. buff, which they took the famous outwit, outlast, outplay, and turned it into outserve, outglam, outslay. Never been done before. Have we messed with that tagline? So that was amazing. And it was bundled with the 3 products, and I'll let Patrick speak to it, but I think it sold out in days. And then the 4th and final is recognize the ritual. Fandoms write the brief. It's no longer about manufacturing a moment. It's about designing for what your fans are already doing. And I know at Paramount Media Labs, my team lives in the comments section of all of our shows. We live and breathe what our fandoms are saying. And I know e.l.f. does as well, creating campaigns and products around what their consumers are saying. So this is a place where we're really aligned. And the finale of Survivor has always been a shared experience. Fans watch and react together, and e.l.f. came in and provided a physical space for the fandom to come together via watch parties, which allows them to show up as part of the community, not just a sponsor. So what happened? 9 million people watched the live finale of Survivor, which was the most watched finale in 10 seasons since season 40. I had to do that math. How sad was that I stopped for a second? So most watched since season 40. And it was the most social episode in the history of the series, which would make it a great place for a brand like e.l.f. to show up. But as we just discussed, it was not just the art of showing up. It's showing up in a way that's native to the show as a participant that made it a success. So to date, there's been 46 million social impressions. The spots, which I would have just shown you, and we need to show you because they're great, received 4 times higher engagement than any other ad running on Prime on any platform. 4 times the engagement of any other ad running in Prime. And even with co-branded content in the beauty category, they were twice as effective and brand favorability was twice as high. So we do know that when you show up as part of the story, it resonates. I said resonates. So this is the takeaway. Brands that do their homework. Do your homework. You feel inevitable and not inserted. Co-create arcs, create more story. Use products to allow fans to connect deeper with the IP. And finally, let fans write the brief. So with that, we're going to bring Patrick from e.l.f. up to discuss the partnership.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Patrick O'Keefe. I'm the Chief Integrated Marketing Officer at e.l.f. Beauty. You're probably wondering, what does that mean? So think about this. You've got innovation creates the product. You have brand that helps to build the story. My job is to bring it to life through all the multiple channels and find partnerships like Paramount and these incredible humans. And I've been doing it for about 7 years and obsessed with e.l.f. We stand for Eyes, Lips, Face, for those of you that don't know.
Great, thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to stick with you because I'm going to start with e.l.f. Advantage. So for those who have just seen it or not seen it, much to Beth's chagrin, we need to show it. But for those who will see it, give us a quick rundown. What was the background and what was the original spark behind this territory?
So at e.l.f., we are bold disruptors with a kind heart. We disrupt norms, we shape culture, and we connect communities. Why is that important? It's all about the connection with our communities. Over 50% of our communities are fans of Survivor, so it seemed like an obvious fit for us to connect with the Survivor finale. There was so much buzz around the finale, and clearly the numbers represent that. So it was our opportunity to lean in and to unlock new audiences within the family.
Beth, anything to add to that in terms of e.l.f. Advantage being the creative territory that you...
Yeah, and I will say I was distracted by getting the video back up so we can do it. But e.l.f. is a brand that was like a white whale to me and to a lot of people in the creative community because it's so cool and it's so disruptive. So we were really excited to partner. And I think, like I said before, if we had to figure out what could be really unexpected, what's an unexpected place for them to show up other than Survivor, where there's no products allowed, no glam, no mirrors. So, I mean, there is a strict rule on Survivor that you're not allowed to bring anything from home into the game, anything that would give you like a perceived advantage. So a lot of fans would say like, oh, can they bring sunblock? Can they bring makeup? Like it's a lot of fan chatter around that. And it's no, only the clothes on your back. So that created a really cool territory to partner with a brand like e.l.f. in a place where you're not allowed to bring product.
I just want to say I remain skeptical that they cannot take sunscreen on the island.
They cannot.
But they're never sunburned.
Well, they're provided things by the show. You cannot bring your own products on.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about Survivor and the show for a second. Beth, I'm going to stick with you. It's one of the most passionate fan communities, as we spoke about, in entertainment. And I know that this process wasn't always easy, trying to push through these ideas and get them to open up to the concept of this partnership. Do you want to talk a little bit about?
Do I? I mean, should I? As we discussed, it almost didn't happen. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of seriousness with which we approach the show because we take it seriously and the fans seriously. So we weren't sure that everyone was going to allow us to have as much fun as we did. And there was a lot of convincing to trust us. And we trusted this partnership that we could really do it in a way that would be respectful to the fandom and the show. And then as we went along, everyone was loving what we were doing. We were able to do what we wanted to do. And like I said, play with the tagline, kind of spoof the idea of how the life on the island is. So yeah. Is there anything from your perspective on that? Did we feel difficult at first?
No, I would just, here's what I love, that you protected your IP. You know your brand, you know what you stand for, and it's the same at e.l.f.
Yeah.
We know who we are. We're very elastic as a brand, so we have a lot of freedom to do a lot of cool shit. Survivor, and I respect that. I have a lot of respect, but we are not an easy brand sometimes to work with because we want to push the boundaries. You guys were incredible partners in being the liaison with the brand of Survivor and making sure that we got what we wanted. And I think we landed it, and it was an incredible partnership, and you guys were incredible to work with. So
awesome.
There were some pain points, not gonna lie.
Say a delicate
with all pain comes good things.
A delicate negotiation, Patrick, we'll call it. Okay, so from the case study that we just spoke about and the videos we just showed, we can see that this wasn't just some video content. It was quite an elaborate campaign with many, many different pieces. Can you tell us more about the importance of building that ecosystem? And it sounds like that is essentially your role at e.l.f., right? To be able to do that.
Yeah, so... I've been with e.l.f. for 7 years, and I've never worked. We do about 150 campaigns a year, and it really truly is the machine. It's the flywheel that makes the magic of e.l.f. It's all about connecting dots. It's about partnerships that go beyond just a traditional logo slap. That's not who we are at all. The minute we see a traditional approach from a partner, we're out. It's like game over. But you guys were willing to take the risk with us, and it wasn't always an easy sell internally either to get the teams to rally around Survivor because they didn't get it. Part of our, what I love about e.l.f. is that we always lean into purpose. So when we first started the dialogue with the teams, there were 19 women at the time that had only won Survivor, and that was a low percentage. And we're all about empowering women and empowering young girls to be stronger leaders. So we wanted to find a way in to celebrate these 19 women. And we found our way through the red carpet. It was only 7, but at the end of the day, it was really about celebrating women. So, and then we put obviously some of the top women into the ads, and that really helped to change the conversation around the flywheel. So if you think about, it's the paid, it's PR, it's social, it's influencer. We got influence. Like we did the watch parties. The watch parties were epic. People had a good time. We created moments of what was happening in the show at these watch parties and generated over 1 billion impressions. And just for a one-night play, if you will, which is pretty epic for us.
Amazing. Beth, anything to add to that about building for the entire ecosystem? Because you were leading that creative team who was ideating all of that, right? It's easy to make some videos, but...
It's easy to make some videos.
So easy.
No, I totally agree with everything that he said. And I do feel like it's not for everything. There are some campaigns. We have a campaign that was recognized here last year that we pulled off in 2 weeks that we did nothing around but dropped quietly. And if you saw it and you got it, if it was for you, if you didn't get it, then it was not for you and you move on. And that was intentional too. So I feel like there's a time and a place to go big. But I love how you said, if it's a logo slap, it's a non-starter. And that's why we want to work with brands like you, and why whoever is in here from a publisher or media will want to work with e.l.f. because it's super fun when you have someone who wants to go deep.
There's a lot of people at Cannes this week on various stages who are going to be talking about their ambition or their campaigns trying to create cultural moments. And for either of you or for both of you, and when you look back on this campaign, what creative or strategic decision do you think helped transform it from just a sponsorship partnership to something that actually drove a cultural moment and garnered so much virality?
Yeah, no, I can jump in.
Sure.
You can go first.
No, you go first.
All right. So, it was a journey to get to where we landed with the creative. But I give a lot of props to our creative team working closely with Beth and team. But it was also one of our agencies, eGen. So our eGen is based out of Australia. They are a gaming agency, but they were obsessed with Survivor, and they came and pitched 3 ideas, and that was what really put the entire internal team over the edge of saying, yes, we've got to do it. So the ideas are the ones that you saw here, and it was in partnership with our creative team and Paramount Creative, Beth, who really put their final seal of approval on it. And it was, I remember being at the shoot with you guys, and there were some tough conversations to get us to where we wanted it to be, but we landed it. And I just appreciate that there was a lot of give and take. And it wasn't just about us dictating to Paramount, but also it was a two-way street.
Yeah. And I will give a shout out to eGen as well. I'm glad that you brought that up because they're great. And that is an unexpected partner to bring in that way. And it goes back to the principle is that they loved the show and they knew it so well that when we got on that first call, I'm like, oh, these guys are fans, and they brought hilarious insight into it. So again, when you know the story really well, you can partner so much deeper and make that brand really feel authentic to it, especially when you're trying to have fun with it. And I would also say that the struggle, there's beauty in that struggle because I say to myself all the time, why do I make my job so much harder? Yeah. Because we could have just said, which happened the first week, like, I don't think this is the right partner. They're a little, it's people are uncomfortable that we're going to go too far. Let's do this instead. And it was that moment that we were like, nope. This is happening. We're doing this. We will figure this out. And with the struggle and the uncomfortable conversations and the push and pull, I think is where real good work comes from. So don't take the easy road, I think.
100%. Love that. Love that build.
Very nice. Okay. So not moving on from Survivor, inspired by Survivor and e.l.f., thinking about that entire ecosystem that you built, is that the holy grail in your opinion for brands? Is that something that all sponsorships and partnerships should touch on? Beth or Patrick, no, you go. You were.
I feel like I just answered that a minute ago, so I'll go back to it. Then I'll go to Patrick, which is that. Are you asking, should everyone always pull all the levers of the ecosystem? I
am suggesting actually by this question.
Okay.
That there are many different types.
She's leading me to say.
I'll lead the witness to the water.
Right.
The horse to water. No, there's many different types of brands. There's all different sizes of campaigns and budgets and all of those things. And I agree that this seems like it was the holy grail because it touched all the things. You were able to pivot, tap into a fandom. And I guess my question is, does that have to be the case?
No, and all the pieces have to be right. You have to have the right brand, the right IP, the right way in. Otherwise, you're just pulling the levers to pull the levers. And like I said earlier, there's been campaigns that are purposefully really quiet or purposely just designed for one platform and one specific audience. So there's a space for that too. But when it's all right and you have the secret sauce, this is when we do this. You probably have a better answer.
No, at the end of the day, when we're doing, like I said, 130 campaigns, there's no way we can put the full muscle behind every campaign.
Right.
And a lot of sparks that do happen are those moments. And I can give one example unrelated to this, but I think it's good for all of us. How many of you know Oliver and Phoenix? Anyone? Okay, great. Thank you, Rob. So Oliver was living in Oregon. He quit his job. And he took his cat Phoenix across the ocean to Hawaii. And e.l.f. in the middle, he was blowing up on TikTok. And he was running out of Pringles and cat food. So we dropped from a plane, Pringles and a cat food. And that was a viral moment that really created from a spark. And it was based off of a cultural moment. And it was mentioned on CNN with our CEO. So it blew up into a conversation. So sometimes you do need the muscle of the 360. And then other times you can just find those little sparks that are going to blow up and create a story.
That's great. And it sounds like for you at e.l.f., you're always trying to find what those tentacles are, right? There's a little bit of that, but then there's also this big partnership here. And that's why everybody knows who the brand is.
Can I ask a question?
Any idea can come from anywhere. So,
my question for you, Patrick, was how do you know that's the right moment to show up?
So for that specific instance, pathetically, I was sitting on my couch on a Saturday night scrolling through TikTok and I saw this guy I'm like, this guy's like, seriously, why would he would not, organically just show up in my feed, but he was showing up. And his follower count was going from 300,000 to 1 million to 2, like, it was just insane. So I called eGen, our agency out of Australia, because they were awake. And I said, let's put a deck together. And we pulled a deck together. The next day, we pitched it to my boss, who's the president, Corey Marchesotto. And she's like, go. And we had the freedom to just take it. We didn't know. We looked at helicopters, planes, any way we could get it, because he was literally in the middle of the ocean. And like I said, it was just that spark that created the moment. And it was a time unprecedented for us.
Some ideas come from strategic frameworks, planning sessions,
sitting
workshops,
on a couch.
and some come from scrolling TikTok really late at night when only Australia is awake.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, so final question, because we're almost at time. Thinking more broadly, so Beth, as you know, at Paramount, we talk about being powered by story and powered by our IP, and how storytelling is fundamental to everything that we do, not just branded content, but also the IP that we create. When you look to the future of brand connections, what lessons do you think marketers can learn from this partnership when they think about creating the next entertainment-led brand experiences?
I'm going to throw it to Patrick because I feel like you've heard enough from me. What lessons do you think we should take?
Number one is curiosity. And honestly, at the end of the day, if you're not a curious person or a brand that wants to unlock new ways to connect with communities, then I think that's not a good thing.
Not a good thing. I mean, Beth, you could have said, work with us at Paramount. It would have been... Just saying, just a suggestion. You could have edited that.
Work with us at Paramount. We're curious.
We're very, very curious.
We are curious, and we don't take no for an answer, and that is the truth.
We do not take no for an answer,
even from our own IP stakeholders. We will not take no.
Before we burn, as the sun hits us, Patrick, you have endured. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody for joining, and thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Paramount.
Thank you.